Italian Football Podcast.
Before we get to Inter, I just want to talk about Diego Coppola. So this is very depressing for Serie A. So Brighton have now, according to multiple sources, have agreed a deal with Hellas Verona to sign Diego Coppola for 10 million euros plus add-ons. They've scheduled medicals for this week. We're recording this on Wednesday. So it looks like it's a deal that's basically done. Well, first of all, let's tell you a little bit about the player, just for the Brighton fans that are watching. He had an absolutely brilliant breakout season for Verona last season. If Verona stayed up, a lot of it was down to him. But if we're talking about just his stats, and I know that Brighton are a very data-driven club, one of the most data-driven clubs in football. His numbers and his stats were insane last season. So in Serie A last season, he had the most interceptions in the league. He had the second most aerial duels won. He's a monster in the air. Real powerhouse and aggressive the way that he attacks the ball. He had the fourth most clearances in the league, and he had the eighth most tackles won. And then if you compare him, and I got this this is from Data MB, just to give the credit.
I like that. I like that guy, and I like that app he's got, the spider he's got. It's really useful.
Yeah.
So I definitely recommend everybody checking him out. He's
this is his info. This is his stats versus Diego Coppola versus the top 5 league. So the big 5 leagues. So Serie A, La Liga, Premier League, Bundesliga, Liga. This is Coppola, how he matches up against the under 23 centre backs in the big 5 leagues, and it's virtually a clean sweep. Defensive duels won first, aerial duels won first, sliding tackles first, possessions won first, defensive duels won percentage wise third. So it's a clinic from him. His numbers are outstanding, but you watch him play. And he's a very, very, he gets stuck in. He's aggressive. He's bit more old school, bit more likes to get tight, man mark. Actually, he made his Italy debut last week in that debacle against Norway. He was at fault for the first goal, to be fair, with his positioning. But actually, if you watch him throughout the whole 90 minutes, he was Italy's best player by a distance. He was the only one that can come away with any credit. He was the only one that gave any hope. And he showed himself to you could see the potential there from Diego Coppola. So it's a very good signing for Brighton.
He's he's also very good at anticipating and reading play. He claims he says that he's inspired by Leonardo Bonucci. That's his defensive hero. He was born in Bussolengo, which is in Veneto, and it's a province of Verona. Grew up there, came up through the youth ranks at Verona. His mother is Dutch. He's played for every under 16, I think 18, 19, 20, 21 Italy sides.
The Netherlands, just to stop you, the Netherlands actually were trying to nab him, and that could also be partly why he was given a call up as well for the Norway game. Not that he didn't deserve it, but they were in talks to try and get him. So it's important that Italy got him.
Yeah. And I think the fact that he is so strong in the air is why I think he'll do really well in the Premier League. I think because it's such an aerial, it's a league. I mean, when players like Nikola Milenkovic do so well, a defender like Milenkovic did so well at Nottingham Forest last year, because he's so good in the air. I think someone like Coppola will
good in the duels as well, both of them, Milenkovic and Coppola. These are players that are very, very good and then that's a lot. Premier League is a lot about duels, second balls, winning the first balls, but then winning the second balls, fighting, especially for defenders. So I think that I think he'll be suited for that as well.
I agree, and one thing though that I think is, again, to talk about the Serie A, I've read reports about 10, 12, 15 million euros, and I'm looking at a club like Inter. I'm looking at other clubs who are looking for defensive strengths, and they don't even try to buy them. This is ridiculous. Like, why not? Acerbi ain't getting any younger. You're talking about getting rid of De Vrij. Why aren't you going after him? You don't have 10 million euros? I mean, what do you talk? Of course you do. You have 10
All
million
of the
euros.
big clubs. I mean, maybe not Juventus. Juventus are quite well set at the moment, but Inter definitely, Milan definitely, Roma as well.
Napoli, they don't need a central defender. They're going to continue with Juan Jesus.
I mean, Napoli are going. Well, Napoli are going to get Boikema probably, but they probably.
But that's another thing. Boikema. I mean, yeah, I get that he's more proven in the Serie A and blah blah blah. But you're telling me that Conte can't work with someone like Coppola? I mean, it's frustrating, and I understand you don't want to piss him off, but this is what we're talking about. There's no pathway here. Okay, he grew up through the youth ranks at Verona, and of course,
I think we have to separate Serie A and it's Italian football here. It's in both ways. It's bad. It's bad for Serie A. It's a disaster for Serie A that we're losing this player. And I don't know if we spoke about this on Monday's show or with just me and you speaking ourselves, but it's one thing Serie A losing to Gianni Reinders for 70 million to Manchester City, a state-owned club, one of the richest in the world, a Premier League club. That's understandable because we know our place in the food chain now. But so that's okay. Well, it's not okay, but okay, it is what it is. But
it is what it is.
It is what it is. But when we're losing the up-and-coming players from the small clubs, the relegation teams, and we're losing them to a mid-table Premier League team, Brighton, we're not losing them to a top team. That
for a transfer fee that isn't exactly breaking the bank.
For a transfer fee that we can afford as well, and a salary that we can afford. And you can't tell me that you wouldn't be able to argue to Coppola that it's a better move for you. I mean, okay, Brighton maybe differently, that they're a well-run club, and they do very good at buying these kind of players and developing them. But you can't tell me that at this stage of your career, it wouldn't have been better to have another move within the Serie A before you move abroad. That you couldn't at least argue that point as well. So but again, so that's the Serie A. But on the Italian football, on the Italy side of things, absolutely. That this is what we're talking about with the pathway of Italian clubs. If you're not trusting a Coppola who's just had an outstanding season, what hope is there for
outstanding seasons? One better than the other.
One in particular. But if you're not even, if the big clubs or the bigger clubs than Verona in Serie A are not going to trust and go for a Coppola, what hope? Who's proven himself this season? What hope is there for them to give trust to players who are relatively unproven yet talented, but haven't had the chances, like some of these under 17, under 19, under 20 players from Italy that have shone in the Louvre tournament. What hope is there? There's no hope for them if we're not even.
And the thing that pisses me off is also that, like you say, Juve are set for now. Igor Tudor was the guy who gave him his debut in this for the first team at Verona. I mean, it's like it's just all around. It's like this is not, this is incompetence. How are you scouting players everywhere in the world, but you can't seem to get to be prepared?
Well, I think there's a point there with Juventus.
But listen, and then to continue with that, Leoni, Inter now want him, Juve want him, but they want to sign him and loan him out for another season, which I understand because he's a young guy. Coppola doesn't need that. Like this is my like it just, this is what I mean, in the sense that I understand that Juve, Milan, Inter, Napoli, the club's jobs are not to make Italian football, save Italian football, but this is literally a no-brainer. You're choosing. I think what it is. Let me just finish. You're choosing between a foreign player and a player who works in the Serie A, is Italian. What the hell? And it's not even a bank-breaking transfer fee or wages.
No. You've made exactly the point. You've made exactly the point I was going to make. The point is that there is definitely, and this might be unconscious. Sometimes it's financial, but there is a favoritism towards trusting foreigners over trusting Italians. There is almost like it's come to the point now. Maybe it's because we've been doing bad for a few years that
you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Clubs are more willing to trust a foreign player than they are an Italian player, as if if they're foreign, so they're going to be probably better than the Italians, and which is insane. So are you telling me that Lloyd Kelly, Juventus paid 23 million for Lloyd Kelly, and his salary would have been higher as well. Are you telling me that's a better signing and a more
Than Coppola.
Than Coppola for 10 million? You know, but yeah, they're more willing to go for the. It's insanity, isn't it?
That's what I mean, and it's like,
and that's where we also suffer. We suffer from it in the national team.
But this is what I mean. Like, it's two extremes. We go from only Italian, not letting any new influences in at any level, and now it's the extreme the other way, where you just go out. It's insane. It's throwing out the baby with the bathwater and not doing things in moderation, not using your brain, not being organized, not being structured, and it's frustrating. It's really frustrating because Coppola now goes to Brighton. He's gonna. I have no doubts that he's going to be a huge success. From there on, he's going to go to one of the big teams in the Premier League or in Europe, and then that's it. He's never going to become to one of the big teams of the Serie A.
Yeah, generally, once you leave to go to the Premier League, you ain't coming back unless you flop.
Yeah.
Financially, you ain't coming back unless you flop. It really is that
dumb.
simple. And Rasmus Højlund left Serie A, he flopped, so there's a chance he could come back. But if Rasmus Højlund had flourished at Man United, he weren't coming back.
Of course not.
And that's the same with the others as well. You know, Donnarumma, for example. I mean, some Serie A clubs can dream all they like about trying to get him, but they ain't coming back.